morning, everyone. I'm Deanna Sheffield. Welcome to Primary Focus. Well, the unexpected vacation is over for thousands of federal workers across the country and here in East Texas. The 6-day impasse has ended. Last weekend, President Clinton and Republican leaders reached an agreement for now that will keep the government running at least until December 15th. Meantime, cleaning up the aftermath may take some doing, and it may have a negative effect in many different areas. Well, we'll tell you how the shutdown has affected you in ways you may not know after this.
Republican leaders in Congress have acknowledged the importance of those principles.
Something happens when you read the Wall Street Journal.
I'm Detective Mark John.
KLTV.
Welcome back. We're talking about what happens now after the government shutdown. And to clear up some of the confusion, we have Dr. Tim Dolan. He's a political science professor at University of Texas at Tyler. Thank you, Dr. Dolan, for coming on. First of all, we were talking during the break, and I guess it's not unusual for this to happen, but it is unusual in terms of the length that it took so long to come to some kind of agreement.
That's right. Generally, Congress is, because you're dealing with a budget that is so massive and there are so many details to be worked out, it's not that unusual for Congress to exceed the time allotted for it to deliver a budget. Generally, that's handled, though, by a set of continuing resolutions that allow for the government to continue to operate. Sometimes there are political battles that occur over those extensions. This one, though, was extraordinary because it went on for so long.
Right.
And the sides were so entrenched that it created a real crisis for the past week.
A lot of political posturing, as you mentioned. Both sides saying, I want my way. And it's kind of strange because you've seen so many people and talking about name calling. And that seemed to be an issue quite a bit in this whole situation.
Yeah, that's very true. In the case of the administration, Clinton has to begin to at least appear to be resolute, to stand his ground, to continue to in the role of president, and he's had an image problem that way. So he's really got to hold his ground. And in the case of Congress, particularly in the case of the House and the House leadership, they have a very strong agenda that should they stall, they do run the risk of losing a lot of their momentum, a lot of their allies. And so it's created a climate in which there's a lot of intransigence. There's little wriggle room for accommodation, very little room for compromise.
And looking at some of the news reports over the last week, both sides said, we're victorious. Is anyone victorious in this situation?
This was really just a minor skirmish because the budget is still not yet delivered to the president. It was supposed to have been delivered October 1st. So on that count alone, Congress is not appearing too good. They haven't really done their job quite yet. There were 13 appropriations bills that are part of the budgeting process. Only 2 of the 13 have been delivered, and those 2 have been signed into law.
Okay.
But the rest of them are still a work in progress. There is nothing yet for the president to actually review. Now, enough is known about the budget so that we're very certain that the administration is going to veto it.
And December 15th, what will really happen? I mean, we keep hearing that date. What will happen?
Well, that's the date. The extension on the debt ceiling and the continuing resolution that is in place now runs until December 15th. And then December 15th, we're almost back to square one. The government is again officially out of money, and we begin this process again of a shutdown of portions of the federal government.
So you're pretty sure it will happen again?
Well, I don't know if it'll happen again, but part of it is the political calculus that's going to go on. They saw the results of this last episode, this last crisis, and hopefully the 2 sides are going to review the implications of this. It was not very good for either side, so they may end up looking to cut their losses, come to some sort of an agreement, some sort of an accommodation. But there's a great deal of division and a wide gap between the 2 sides on this. So we may well see something again of this magnitude on the 15th.
And many are surprised that it's affecting many people here in East Texas. I know at UT it's affecting students, and many would not even fathom that, well, it won't affect me. You know, the government is there. How's this going to affect me?
Yeah, initially in the first day or two of the limited shutdown, a lot of people thought, well, you know, it doesn't seem like anything is wrong. You know, the sun still rises, and all of this. And East Texas is not an area that has a very large federal presence. We don't have a large military installation here. We don't have a large, say, federal operation like a space center or other large, government office buildings. But it does still affect us in a lot of subtle ways that are just becoming apparent. In the case of the University of Texas at Tyler and the other universities, the other schools in the area, student loan processing has been interrupted.
And that's serious business for those students who want to go to school and may not be able to, or at least it may be put on hold.
Exactly, because now there's a lot of uncertainty. Are they going to get their checks on time? Will they be able to pay their tuition? And all that uncertainty leads to some discouragement. There is a real possibility that some students may not be able to take that, may end up dropping out, at least for the term. And so some real impacts can occur.
So when the government gets together and tries to figure out what should we do December 15th, they need to realize that, I guess, students are going to be affected if an agreement isn't reached.
That's right. The students are going to be affected most definitely in the case of those that are obtaining student loans and a significant portion due. So this is something of great concern, and there's a great deal on the part of the administration. They're very aware of this.
All right.
So we can only hope